Welcome back to the show, everybody, and welcome back to identifying snakes on Facebook. The concept is simple. We scroll through one of the groups on Facebook where people post photos for identification, and I kind of break down what I'm seeing and how I'm identifying the snake, and hopefully that will help you sharpen your ID skills. And we are in the snake identification group. Of course, as always, the link to every group that I use to make these videos will be down in the video description. Felicia posted this, saw this snake this morning in St. Augustine, Florida. So we'll take a look at the snake, or what can we see here. And here's a good example of, this is realistically, a lot of the times we don't see the entire snake in the wild. Snakes are secretive animals in general. So we see a snake that has some orange, reddish coloration to it. And we can only really see the back end of the snake here. Orange background with some darker reddish orange blotches that have black borders. And we can see the end of the tail there. So this snake has blotches. It doesn't really have banding. It's not a water snake. It's not a cottonmouth that has more regular, larger banding. So brick red blotches with black borders on an orange background indicates to me that this is a corn snake, a harmless, non-venomous corn snake. Here's an interesting one that might throw some people off. Victor posted from southern Georgia, and it looks to be from a video. So we see a black snake, a very dark snake, and when we zoom in closer, we can see some white markings down on the edge, on the sides of this snake. We see some white markings. We also see some white markings on the side of the head. So now the eyes are clearly visible on this snake. There's no large overhanging scale. So this isn't a pit viper, it's not a copperhead, it's not a cottonmouth, it's not a rattlesnake. Because those snakes would have a large scale overhanging the eye from above. You wouldn't be able to see the eye. And then we can just make out some of those markings on the lips of the snake, which are the labial scales. We can see those are marked. Now, this snake might confuse some people. There are several black species of snake in Florida. But the basic conical shape to the head, the snout, those kind of white markings on the lower edge, on the lower side of the snake, with those same markings on the face. These features indicate to me a banded water snake, a non-venomous banded water snake. Now you might be saying, well, where's the bands? Well, some specimens of water snake, not just the banded water snake, but even the northern water snake, especially females, large female banded water snakes, sometimes are all black or almost all black with no markings, no bands. And this is one of those. It's a very dark specimen. You might call it melanistic, of a banded water snake, non-venomous. We don't see many posts from Canada, so here's one. Landon posted from Kamloops, British Columbia. First thing right off the bat, we notice the dark stripe, the angular stripe that goes around the snout, through the eye, and curves down towards the back of the mouth. The other feature I immediately notice is the large scales that overhang the eye that give kind of a horned appearance. Those are large scales called the supraocular scales. Now, if we were looking directly above at this snake, we would not be able to see the eyes because of these scales, which I mentioned in the previous snake. So right away, we know this is a pit viper, right? So when we take the location of Canada, the west coast of Canada, into consideration, and if you know ranges and you know what species occur in Canada on the west coast, it's pretty easy to determine. There's no copperheads out there, there's no cottonmouths out there, but there is rattlesnakes. And in particular, in this region of Canada, there's only one possibility, and that is a northern Pacific rattlesnake. Amber posted from Lumberton, Texas. So we can see a pretty plain looking tan, brownish tan snake. And this snake is eating a frog, probably some type of leopard frog. So when we think it's in Texas, okay, what kind of snake in Texas would be this kind of tannish, plain tan color? Well, there are a few possibilities. What can we see from the head? It's kind of also a plain, unmarked head. The head is rounded in appearance with a blunt snout, not a squared off snout like a rat snake would have. A rat snake would have markings, would have saddle markings down the length of the body. So a plain tan snake with kind of a rounded snout and a slight ridge over the eye, not pronounced as like a copperhead, a cottonmouth, or a rattlesnake would have, but there is a slightly raised supraocular scale, and it kind of gives the snake that angry appearance. Now, some people might think, well, it's a coach whip, and I could see where some people might think it's a coach whip, but coach whips do have a slightly different head shape. They tend to have more markings, more white spots on the face, and they tend also to have more pronounced scales on the body. So knowing all this and the features that we can see in the photo, all of this indicates this is a racer, and down in that area of Texas, the subspecies down there is the tan racer. So this is a non-venomous tan racer. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Please share these videos. And as always, my mission is education.